Hello and welcome to Stockwatch Live. This week I'm focused on the retail sector again. Two household names are in the spotlight. Both are fixtures on the high street and familiar to everyone in the UK. Both are very different companies and both very different investments in recent years. Tesco reports full year figures on Wednesday. For a few reasons, there'll be plenty of focus on the numbers. This chart shows the first reason why. Tesco has been a huge disappointment for investors and its shares are half the level they stood at 5 years ago. The reason for that is simple. The company has had a string of problems, some out of its control, but others for which it can take full responsibility. Tesco was the dominant force in British retail until recently. It dominated grocery shopping here and it sought to replicate that dominance overseas. It was a classic case of overstretch and the company was probably guilty of taking its eye off the ball at home. Tesco has also suffered alongside all the big four grocers at the hands of the German discounters Aldi and Lidl. They've caught the attention of food shoppers in austerity Britain with their smaller ranges but much cheaper prices. Many people who would never have considered shopping at a pilot high sell it cheap supermarket in the past have swallowed their pride and enjoyed a cheaper weekly shop. Not much Tesco can do about this. Not much it can do either about the sterling-fueled rise in inflation, which has made shoppers more careful with their budgets. But as I say, some of the damage has been self-inflicted. Tesco was caught on the wrong side of an accounting scandal and repairing its reputation took some time. More recently, its quality control was lacking, resulting in rotten turkeys at Christmas, a PR disaster. Now, sorting all of this out has dealt Tesco's profits a nasty blow. You can see here how earnings, the dark blue bars, collapsed between 2014 and 2016. Unsurprisingly, the company decided that this was not the right time to be paying a dividend to shareholders, the light blue bars, and it took a couple of years off before returning to the dividend list last October. Now, the good news is that trading is improving, and that should enable Tesco to return to paying out half of its profits to shareholders. You can see both the bars rising in line with each other in the final three forecast columns here. The improving outlook will get a further boost from the recently completed takeover by Tesco of wholesaler Booker. This is widely seen as a great deal which opens up a whole new part of the food market to the company. As well as being the biggest supermarket chain, it will now also dominate wholesaling to smaller retailers and restaurants. Now, the other well-known retailer to come under the spotlight next week is WH Smith. Just as well known as Tesco, Smith's has been a very different investment proposition, as this chart shows. The shares may have come off the boil during the recent market volatility, but for the rest of the past 5 years, it's been one-way traffic. Now, this may come as a bit of a surprise if your experience of WH Smith is the company's rather dismal high street shops. And in fact, this part of the business is doing pretty poorly at the moment. A trading statement in January pointed to a 5% slide in sales before Christmas. But this is not what WH Smith is about. The key to the company's soaring share price has been the other side of the business, its successful travel arm. The shops at airports and railway stations, including nearly 250 international branches, is where the future lies. Already, 2/3 of profits come from selling magazines and water to the captive audience that's prepared to pay what they have to while on the move. The earnings and dividend chart for Smiths is very different from that for Tesco, as you can see. The growth rate may not be spectacular, but it is very steady and reliable. Again, dividends have followed earnings higher and they're forecast to continue doing so. Hopefully, Thursday's interim results will suggest that the steady growth in both earnings and dividends is set to continue. Well, that's all from Stockwatch Live this week. Thank you for watching.